Hello everyone, I am Dr. Pallavi Deka. I teach political science in Department of Political Science, Henry Girls College. And today we will be knowing something about the concept of state, its origin, and also some of the theories related to the concept of state. Now, as we all know that the concept of state has been one of the major themes that has been discussed in political science, and it is widely debated as to the necessity of being a major theme in the whole discipline of political science. When we talk about political science and its relation to the concept of state, we know that many of the important thinkers of political science has defined political science as the study of state, and it has been traditionally recognized as one of the major subjects that the discipline of political science have studied. But nonetheless, we have also seen a gradual departure from concentration on the concept of state in the subject of political science. But having said so, we all understand that concept of state has been one of the major subject that we have been studying in political science. Now, what is state then? As we all know, the concept of state and the understanding of state revolves around four main themes: its population, its territory, its government, and its sovereignty. Now, since population is a major theme and the constituent part of the state is where the citizenship lies, citizens are the main component of state upon which the state governs. So government comes the next step, where the government rules over the state and its citizens. Now, the third part, that is the concept of territory, because when we talk about the government and the state, it revolves around how the state operates and the government functions around the territory. It cannot go out of the territory. So a boundary, a territory is important to have a recognized state. And lastly, that territory, that government actually works in a sovereign way. That means it has to function, it has to operate how within a territory, and that territory has to be non-interfered by others. That means the government does its work upon the citizens within a stipulated territory without interference from outside world in an independent manner. So this is what the legal conception of state is. But this legal conception of state, we all know today, is a modern concept. But we should not forget that the concept of state is a concept that has been there from ancient past. When we talk about city-state in the Greek societies, when Aristotle and Plato talked about city-state, there was a rudimentary concept of state, not of the today's understanding, but the concept of state has been there from the ancient past. But in modern sense, these four elements of state that I have mentioned are the main understanding that we know today of the state. So we have given a general understanding of what state means. Now let us shift to the origin of the state. How did it originate? In the origin of state, we come across three main theories on origin of state. One is the divine origin theory, the second is the force theory, and the third is the social contract theory. When we talk about divine origin theory of state, it is basically about the divinity that associated with the power and legitimacy of the state, whereby it is trying to say that it is the God that gives the ruler the understanding of the state and the power to hold the state and rule over other. Secondly, when we talk about force theory, it is about those who have the might, those who have the power will be always in the capacity of ruling the state. This is force theory. And the third is the social contract theory, where the importance of masses or importance of the citizens are come into play in relation to the functioning of the state. Here we can name the three contractualists: Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Rousseau. These three political scientists talks about how in the state of nature human beings came together to have the state in order to have better lives for themselves. So these are the major theories related to origin of state. Next, in the slides, you'll be seeing about two major theories regarding the concept of state itself. There are different theories related to concept of state, but I have stick to totally two-dimensional theories, two polar opposite theories related to the concept of state. One is the liberal theory of state and the other is the Marxist theory of state. Now, with relation to the liberal theory of state, it is about the concept of state being seen through the individual liberty, seen through the individual freedom. Because liberal theory gives importance to the concept of freedom and liberty of the individual. Individuals are the point of reference in liberalism. Now, when individual becomes the point of reference in liberalism, they see state as a necessary evil. They see state as a medium by which the individual liberty and freedom can be enhanced. So, the liberalism talks about limiting of the nature of state, limiting of the responsibility of state, and state can operate only when it is sufficing or it is enhancing the individual liberty and individual freedom. So liberal theory talks about state not as an important tool or not as an important mechanism in itself, but it talks about state as an enhancing mechanism for the individual liberty and individual freedom to be enhanced. Next in the line is about the Marxist theory of state. When we talk about Marxist theory of state, it is basically about criticizing the existing nature of state that the liberal principle has given us. We are now in a liberal concept of state that we are living in. Now, what Marxist theory of state talks about is that state is operating as a tool of the ruling class. It is operating as a tool of the bourgeois section against the proletariat or against the working class. Now, having said so, the Marxist theory proposes for a stateless society, for a society that should be against this type of state repression. It talks about a state where the ruling class is taking advantage of the state tools and mechanisms to oppress over the proletariat or over the working class. So the Marxist theory of state actually talks about a revolution that will be thwarting the present system of state, which is operating on behalf of the bourgeois, and they are talking about a stateless society where the initial stage of state will be ruled by the proletariat, and when the proletariat will rule, there will be no need of the existence of rules and regulation at some later point of time, and the society will be heading towards a stateless society. So this is an overall understanding about the concept of the state, about the origin of the state, and also about a few major discussion on the theories on state. So we can have a at later point of time, we can have an extensive study or an extensive discussion on other theories and concept of state as well. Thank you so much.